All right. I guess relatively important news, but not really surprising to me. Ooh, let's go here. Is Cameron posted that CIG changed reclaimer description on sale page. No more onboard processing. Previously, it says it has a significant cargo space along with an onboard processable capable of refining. Right? That's the big thing. And refineries are going to be dedicated to refinery ships and refineries and refinery player bases, I assume. Right? The Reclaimer is one of the oldest designed and concepted ships in the game, and it was very clear that this was an old reference and not a new one. I know a lot of people wanted the Constellation to have an onboard refiner. I'm not actually against it having one, I'm going to be honest. Hey, Zolox. But that's, yeah. And storing up to a Constellation's worth of raw scrap, like even that is an old comment, right? Because I think it can store more than what a Constellation can hold. So let's not ignore the fact that this has changed as well, but for the better. But we're just going to talk about the negatives, right? That's what everyone will do. Any mention of an onboard process, this is now, and that was previously. Any mention of an onboard processor is gone. See picture, we'll go down to it. CAG must have changed this very recently. I made a video on October 20th, 4 weeks ago, and it still had the onboard processor description. Yeah, I looked at that as well. This is, there you go, even on the sale page. And now it says, strip deep space, and then they cut out that part, and they added this. Heavy salvage vehicles specialize in larger derelict reclamation via hull stripping and structural salvage, recovering RMC and salvage, a low-density construction material with the highest yield but the longest refinement time. Cool. Like, I personally don't see an issue with this. Necessarily. In general, I don't like their direction that they have gone with structural salvage, with the 3 different yield types or the 2 different yield types. I find that very odd. I gave them a, hey, this is how Eve works. I love the way this is. It's so good. And they were like, yeah, no, we'll do our own thing. And I think their own thing is much more boring, as it turns it into base crafting material, essentially. Whereas Eve's salvage was kind of interesting. It was random what you would get, but it would be within a field of a certain ship would drop this range of material, and those materials would be like, the bulkheads of the ship, or the screens, or triggers, or like certain things that would that could be used in building, right? Like used parts, like a proper salvage yard kind of experience, right? So yeah, there's that. Port Reclaimer is changing beyond recognition. The giant scrap processor feeding the refinery was central to the entire design of the layout of the rear ship and the physical claw. Yeah, like that's the thing. But all of that was in your head canon. I'm blue to you. Okay, weird. Was the head canon aspects of it. So I don't know what direction they thought this was going to go once salvage started getting developed. This is the right thing to do, is as they develop the game, they change the ships that they should have made after. And nobody points this out. They made the Reclaimer, they designed the Reclaimer, they sold the Reclaimer, they told you what the Reclaimer was going to be before they ever made the gameplay. So if you're mad about it, I get it. And you have every right to be mad. But I feel like the my Reclaimer has changed. My idea of the Reclaimer has changed. Right? And that is not what I was looking for. I feel like in Eve, you build ships, in Star Citizen, you 3D print them. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is a fair comment. Absolutely. And it just doesn't feel as cool or as nice, I guess. So I totally understand you lost the physical claw. That sucked, right? That one hurt me too. And then especially when we went to this vacuuming up ships into little pieces and just it all just feels yucky and too simplified and boring and not as like engaging and fun as it could have been. But I don't think they're capable of making ships that you can crunch with a claw and split, you know? And I don't think the refining is necessary. I don't. I think it's totally fine to not be on the ship and you bring it somewhere else to refine. It would be totally fine if you had a refiner on the ship and other refineries were just better. But I would love to see the Reclaimer specialize in breaking down big ships and breaking down lots of small ships quickly or something, right? And it's it kind of does that. And I think my pain point is that everything is a square or rectangular box of a different color and nothing feels like, I love it. They wanted things to feel physical, tactile, all this shit, and everything is just a square box. So it's like, what does it matter if it has a refinery? Like, you know what I mean? Doesn't the Arastra have a refinery, or was that the Orion? Yeah, the Arastra has one and the Orion, and I don't like that the Arastra has it. I think that makes all the mining ships below it not valuable and not useful. I think you go Arastra or die from that point forward. And the difference between the Orion and the Arastra is the Arastra can go anywhere, and the Orion kind of made it seem like it was more like a whole sea. Like flying it on a planet was not going to be viable, right? So it was like, okay, there's this okay distinction between the two of them. The Reclaimer almost can't fly on a planet. I think that's where, if the Reclaimer was space-bound, then I can see arguing that this needs to have a refinery on it.
Each time when I come here.
But that's kind of where I am with this. Are we mad about the Reclaimer changing, or are we not happy about what structural salvage, what it is as a whole? And I think our argument is we're not happy with what structural salvage is. There are way better examples of better ways of doing salvage in many other games. And I think that's more of the problem than not. But good catch by Cameron, for sure. And yeah, like this whole idea of salvage being listed on a sale page when that name is just... That naming convention is very odd, and I hate it. I feel like it would change for sure. It's confusing, right? To me, it's confusing. Salvage this, salvage that, like the three different material types. Construction material, salvage, rubble. Like, I don't know. It's all very confusing and very weird. And I think that this is more pointing our direction and frustration at salvage itself, and not the, oh, you changed my Reclaimer. The Reclaimer needed to change massively from day one, right? This whole completely physics-based, hyper-realistic system they're building around the way ships break apart, salvage, etc., is going to become unwieldy. No, I think with this, they've made it so simplistic and not unwieldy, right? Which is probably why they went this direction, is you break it up into a few pieces, you instantly turn it into dust, and then they call it a different material, even though the exact thing looks exactly the same, right? So again, let's look at the picture, because I always forget. The Reclaimer makes the highest yield stuff, but it takes the longest to refine, and the smaller ships make low yield, but it happens quickly. Again, I don't like that style of gameplay, really. That idea of it, like the refinery gameplay is going to determine, because now it's like, well, we thought refinery gameplay was going to change a lot with the dedicated refinery ships and our dedicated refinery bases and what happened to catalysts, and right, there's no reason to change that stuff. Now you're kind of pigeonholing yourself. But that is untrue. The Vulture has 30% return on structural salvage, and the Reclaimer only has 15, so it's not high yield for the Reclaimer. That's true. Right? And then they also said that what Church is saying here is that eventually we will go to a salvage experience once crafting comes in that is the reverse of crafting, that you get the material back that it's made of. So, like, putting this in the sale page is odd, but I think that they also want to avoid the drama that Commeral's kind of stirring up here. So what I think the Reclaimer will do in the future is a lower density version of copper, and the Vulture will do a higher density, or it should be the other way around, right? I can't remember. But I do remember during this discussion last time that we had Torsten in chat, and he helped explain it to us. But it's still such a weird system that I'm sure it's simple, but it feels so overcomplicated, right? Is that the Reclaimer does high volume and that the Vulture does low volume. I'm not mad, but someone that's been waiting for the Reclaimer to function, it's disappointing. Been staring through the window where the salvage is being ground up for so many years. Oh, well. Okay, that was always just an animation. What were you hoping to see there? Like the metal go through it? They could still do that. It's what happens behind the scenes has always been the thing that we needed to understand a bit more. No, you mean it was the idea? The idea of what, though? Like, I think we were all hoping it was a little bit more like Hard Space Shipbreaker, right? You, like, broke a piece off. This is made of this material. That is made of that material. Oh, you got to avoid the gas pipe so things don't explode, right? I did check with the Vulture friend, both the braids. Vulture has higher yield in scraping, nearly double, but it takes 8 times longer to get it off the ship. So both scrape and eating ships, the Reclaimer is all about quickly getting bulk amounts that yield for less, but due to quantity, the profit is higher per time. Yes, okay. And that is their balancing, is Reclaimer better because you paid more money for it, whether it's for in-game credits or real money, on a alpha UEC per hour. But yeah, the Vulture gives you that more dense stuff. So I think they even have the description incorrect. Isn't that the eventual goal for salvage, though? No, I don't think so. We don't know what the eventual goal for salvage is, but I think somebody pointed this out in the chat. This week in SC, there was something, right? There we go. So, we're going to call out Thursday. Thursday is a big day for us. It's IAE Day 1. We got the Perseus Q&A, which is whatever. You got my most looking for. I can't wait for Talking Shop. Holy shit, it's going to be so exciting. And then you have the salvage guide. That's the big thing here. For me, I am very much looking forward to deep diving into this. Salvage is still my favorite thing to do in the game. Not structural salvage, but RMC. I think it is super chill. It creates a material that is actually usable and viable in the game with like repair and stuff, especially come engineering, and just feels good. Structural salvage, it just doesn't feel good. Right? I hate them so much. They literally do fuck all the entire year and then drop all the info during a ship sale. Yeah, the timing of this one is not very awesome, to say the least. But yeah, that's fair. It's weird. It's not even on Aegis Day. You would think it would be on the day of the actual ship. But I get your frustration. I don't hate them for it, but it is yucky, right? Are RSI going to be selling a new salvager? That's right. Don't they have the little baby salvager? So, which is where the other material that we don't know about probably is going to be in the baby one, or maybe it's bigger. Who knows? But yeah, we know of this salvage starter that they've hinted at for a really long time. So Thursday is huge day for salvagers. Big stuff there, and excited for that.